Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to our weekly webinar, mapping out our week ahead. This is Simon with AvaTrade, and a few things about myself. I'm a senior account manager with AvaTrade, and I've been involved in trading since June of 2000. That makes it over 24 years. Wow. And I started as a prop trader in New York City. I worked in a few prop Wall Street firms, and after 11 years, I moved on and started to mentor and educate others. And currently, I'm very happy I have this great opportunity to be assisting our customers at AvaTrade. So the agenda of the webinar, and just in general, especially for new people, that you are to get special welcome, of course. What we do here in one sentence, we're really creating a structure, creating a plan for the week. And as I like to say and quote traders, that say you plan your trade and then you trade your plan. This way you're being more organized and less spontaneous and less reactive to the market, and hopefully more successful. So we talk about indices, we talk about stocks, commodities, forex. We mix fundamentals with technicals. We'll discuss a little bit about what happened last week in reaction to the market, how we ended up week, and what could be potentially expecting us, or what to expect in the upcoming week with trading. Risk warning, you can find the full statement at avatrade.com website. And of course, everything we do is purely educational. We do not suggest any trades. Social media, you have Telegram, you have X, which used to be Twitter, and you have YouTube, which I always say it's my favorite. You have a lot of information there, including tutorials, educational material, and also the webinars. If you missed the webinar, don't stress, don't sweat. You can always find it's being recorded and posted on YouTube. A lot of you are watching this on YouTube right now. So if you do, please click on likes if you like it, of course. I'm not asking to fake it. And if you feel that it's beneficial or could be beneficial to others, feel free to share, write your comments, write your feedback, write your questions if you have any. Okay, so let's start with last week. Friday was the key point. As you know, the Feds are watching three things: how the economy is doing, how the employment is doing, and how the inflation is doing. So up until now, the inflation was the main focus in the past few weeks, I guess, when it was kind of decided, quote unquote, that the rate cut is happening on the 18th of September. The question is it 50 basis points or 25? As far as we get to this, I want to jump. So now it looks like the main focus is on employment, as market reacted to the lower jobs, the lower number of jobs added, even though unemployment ticked a little bit lower. So this is an article you can find on marketwatch.com, and it's interesting. They give a little bit of the explanation of what's happening and what might be happening. Now, NVIDIA, as you know, has been in focus for a while as being a leading technology company in AI, which is a new golden rush of our time. And this article right here says NVIDIA stock is falling. CEO Jensen Huang sold another chunk of shares, and they give specifics here. NVIDIA stock was falling Friday afternoon. As you know, the whole market was falling. We'll take a look at the moment. And CEO sold more than 633 million worth of NVIDIA since June, according to SEC filings. And it says right here, Huang sold nearly 5.3 million shares in tranches of 120 shares each in a series of transactions between June 13th and September 5th, totaling about $633.1 million, according to SEC filing Thursday. And they actually explain here how it works. The transaction were made through a so-called Rule 10b5-1 trading plan, that Wang adopted on March 14. Such plans automatically execute stock trades when certain conditions such as price and volume are met. The plans are meant to remove any advantage an insider may have from knowledge of non-public information. That's pretty cool. So it cannot really manipulate it, just almost automatic, I guess. Wang is NVIDIA's largest individual shareholder, according to FactSet, owning about 3.5% of the company's shares outstanding as of August 9th. Okay, so he continues selling, and I think I mentioned this webinar a few times that it doesn't look good that CEO is selling. I'm sure he doesn't need any petty cash. There's a reason he's selling, but at the other hand, he has the right to sell, and he has a lot of shares, so why not? Okay. Banks also reacted heavily on Friday. I will take a look at the charts at the moment. So bank stocks slide after jobs report shows cooling labor market. That's on Barron's. And it says right here, large bank shares dropped on Friday after the U.S. employment data reflected a cooling labor market. It was an unwelcome sign of bank investors whose fortunes tend to rise and fall with the economy's health. It gives you the numbers, of course, we all know it. On Friday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics showed U.S. economy added 142,000 non-farm jobs in August, short of economist expectation of 160. The unemployment rate fell slightly. Those results softer than anticipated, but not terrible, further solidified economists' expectation. The Federal Reserve is set to reduce its benchmark interest rate this month, its first cut since 2020. Okay, so that's the banks. 10-year yields have been going down here, and reaching the level that we reached on the 5th of August with the big sell-off, right? So the question is, what's next? We hit that August 5th level, which was 3.657, and we bounced from there. And we've been trying to go forward or towards the 4 mark. And this week we started and then we sold. So technically speaking, that would put pressure on the US dollar and release a little bit gold, help it to go higher. Let's take a quick look later if that's the case. Now, this is the CME tool that you can watch. According to these numbers, the fresh numbers after the NFPs, we have 70% probability of 25 basis points cut and only 30% of 50 basis points. So as of now, it was pretty much the same since beginning of August. There was a little bit fluctuation here. Okay. All right. So again, before we go to economic calendar, so we established that the jobs came lower than expected, and it's clearly showing this slow of growth with the jobs added. Especially the latest report showed that July numbers were revised to the downside. It was reported originally 114 jobs added, and it was revised to 89,000 jobs. So it said that it's a sharp downward trend from monthly average, and monthly average has been for the first half of this year, according to statistics here, 207,000. So definitely there's a weakness in jobs. Also, we did have earlier the numbers with the job openings, which are also lower than expected. Okay, so that's what we have. We have about 70% probability of the 0.25% and 30% of 0.25% interest rate cut. Okay. Economic calendar. Before we go into, just to explain, especially to new people, the idea of it, this is public information being released through a lot of sources. So you can Google it. You can find it also on our web trader or the app. what I do here is choose only the high impact events. There's so much more. You can browse through it and you can filter and choose whatever is relevant to your trading. What's important is to understand that if you're a trader, if you're an active trader, it's kind of important that you be aware of these things ahead of time so you wouldn't be caught in a surprise moves like we had Friday or NFPs or interest rate decisions or any other like CPI numbers that's waiting for us. Any other important things when the market increases volatility, and you could see those spikes and you'll be wondering what just happened, right? So you know it ahead of time. You can make the intelligent decision. Should you participate in trade? Should you avoid trading? Should you get in or out or whatever you choose to do? You are in control when you are informed, right? Okay, so these are the things waiting for us. Today or later tonight, we have, by the way, here, the numbers are in GMT times. You can choose and filter and create your own time frame. Okay, so Japan, gross domestic product, GDP numbers later on tonight. Then we have CPI numbers from China. China is in focus, as we know. The economy there is really struggling a lot. Tuesday brings us CPI numbers from Germany, employment data from UK, and the governor of Bank of Canada speaking on Tuesday as well. Wednesday is a key day for the US market, and the global markets, of course, will be reflecting it. And of course, it's not because of presidential debate, which also affecting the markets as the candidates that have different agendas and different business view. So definitely there's some kind of effect on the market, but the most affecting thing is going to be consumer price index, which is coming out at 12:30 GMT time on Wednesday. The CPI numbers are going to be really closely watched by the Fed, even though, as I said in the beginning, they're still focusing, even though they're still focusing on inflation data. It looks like the main focus now is on unemployment as well. But definitely we'll see some actions on the market on Wednesday when the report is out. Thursday, ECB money policy statement and the rate. It looks like they're expecting a cut also of 25 basis points, and that's at 12:15 GMT on Thursday, followed by PPI numbers from US. This time they're in the same day. Usually they're in the separate days, which is very interesting. Sorry, they are in the separate. Okay, CPI Wednesday and PPI Thursday. All right, I'm confusing myself. I apologize. Press conference from ECB on Thursday, and a monetary policy report from UK. That's all on Thursday. Friday, a Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index, also important. And Saturday, we have industrial production and retail sales from China, which is also very, very important. So these are the things that we should be paying attention in the upcoming week as far as the announcements and releases of economic calendar events. Okay, let's move to the trading platform, and we start with indices. That will move to some stocks and commodities, and then forex. And for dessert, we'll take a quick look at cryptos. Okay, so let's start with indices. We start with China, and as we said, China is struggling a lot. Clearly downtrend. Beautiful. We continue making lower highs. We just confirmed another lower low. We are sliding slowly going south. As I said, at some point we might be hitting this lower trend line here that connects the previous two lows. And in the big picture, we could be sliding to the lower levels looking for support. I mean, logically speaking, probably around 11,000 psychological number, we might see some support, or hitting that trend line And if we slide lower than that, that we might be retesting these levels here, from which we had the bounce about 10,800 and so on. So China, again, there's some numbers coming out. The economy is slowing there. As you remember, started a lot to do with real estate developers. A lot of companies went out of business. The financial area got hit, and so on. Production is being cut, and so on. Right? Japan, we had a huge sell-off on Friday, and the whole week we're pretty much stepping down. Also, it's of course in sympathy with the global markets, as well as Japanese yen regaining strength or continue being stronger. And we'll take a look at yen when we get to Forex. So that's Japan market. Now, in US indices, here we go. Dow Jones sliding pretty much the whole week. We're hitting the level of 40,290. We stop right there around these levels. We cross below a 50 moving average, and we right between the 50 and 100 moving average here. Let's see if this level holds. If not, we might continue lower. S&P 500 broke both 50 and 100 moving average. It could be on the way to retesting the 200. Also, we right on 5,400. We closed on Friday, 5,450 cents. Very psychological level here. Okay, so that's on S&Ps. Again, this week with the CPI and PPI numbers, it's going to be very crucial. Now, NASDAQ has been selling. We technically showing we broke below the 200 moving average, so it looks like it's the weakest out of three major US indices. NVIDIA helped do it. Other stocks sold, big tech sold, banks sold on Friday. We'll take a look at a few of those stocks when we get there. So clearly NASDAQ is the weakest here. It shows a lot of weakness. Germany also big sell-off on Friday after the previous week. We're hitting all-time high, and all this week we've been really selling below the 50 and 100 moving average here. If we step lower, we probably could reach the 18,000 or even lower to the 200 moving average here. French index as well, the whole week moved down, broke the previous support here. UK, interestingly enough, it's actually holding this level. If you remember, we spoke about this channel here between 81.80 and 83.50. We've been accumulating a lot. We broke above, then we sold the beginning of August together with the US markets. We came right back, make a higher high, and this past week we've been selling, but we are holding here. So it looks like it's trying to hold this territory here. Let's see what happens. Russell also sold the small cap US index. We are approaching the 200 moving average here. We'll take a look what happens. So that's as far as indices, right? Now going to China, usually I mention this a lot. With China, when we see the sell-off in China, we could possibly see a sell-off in oil, copper, Australian, and New Zealand dollars. We'll take a look at them, and just to remember that China affects it a lot, besides other reasons, of course. Okay, moving to stocks. Moving to stocks, and we'll start, of course, with NVIDIA. Here's NVIDIA. We are trying to hold above 100, the psychological key level. Been selling since, if you remember, the earnings came last Wednesday after the market. There were good earnings, but I guess not great or not good enough for the investors, and the stock tanked. And we are holding this 100 level. We closed on Friday at 102.70. after hitting 100.87 low. Okay. Now, just to remind us, with August sell-off on August 5th, there was a big sell-off. NVIDIA went in a main session, trading session, as low as 90.61. Okay, so definitely we'll be continuing watching NVIDIA. Microsoft, I mean, we'll just take a look through the big stocks. Microsoft is approaching the 400 psychological level. It's below all the moving averages, 50, 100, and 200. If you remember, the moment they announced they kind of removing themselves from AI, the stock start selling. There was a recovery here, and then we continue lower. So 400 we should be watching as a key level, possibly holding or not. So that's Microsoft. Meta 500 level also. Very important level. If we do break it, we might continue sliding. Netflix, after making 700 plus, we've been sliding here. Google, super weak. If you remember, there was a court decision that blaming Google for being a monopoly. That didn't help, and the market selling also is not helping, definitely. We are at 150, closing 150.83. Tesla, a huge sell-off after a nice move to the upside in previous days of the week, and then we sold rapidly. There was a big selling here. I guess reaction to it. Now Tesla is really, we're waiting for that October RoboCap show or presentation. Funny enough, friends of mine there in San Francisco, and they actually took the taxi. That's the only city in the US that actually implemented the robotaxi, and it is working. It looks like it. So let's see how the presentation. A lot of good expectation to the robotaxi, as the company says, it's going to bring a lot of income to the company. And nevertheless, we did have a sell-off. We just broke below 50 moving average. We could be continuing retesting the support, the recent support of around 202. And just to remind us, the 200 is a key level. A lot of actions happening around there. Okay, so that's about the big boys. Now the banks. Let's take a look at the banks really quick. Remember I showed you the slide with Wells Fargo, a huge sell-off on Friday, and the rest of the banks also sold heavily. JP Morgan as well. Let's see. Here we go. Still remains the strongest out of the banks, but still all of them pretty much selling on Friday as the whole market really went down. Now, by the way, let's just go really quickly back to S&P 500. I just want to compare the recent situation with August 5th, right? So here we go. On August 5th, we reached the level of 5120. Now we really strongly, heavily falling here. So if we continue, we might be actually coming and retesting this level, or maybe the level here around 5,200. That's 200 points from the current price. So let's see. Again, these numbers for the week are very important, CPI and PPI. Let's see how market reacts. Okay, so that's the big boys. Now, Intel, if you remember, Intel had really showing us some hopes, but then it just went away. And I just checked on the big chart. We just reached on Friday the level of exactly 14 years ago, September 2010. That's the level when Intel hit as low as 1775. We hit here the low of 1862 and bounced a little bit. So still that excitement about the restructuring of the company kind of disappeared, right? And then we just made a lower low here. we'll continue watching Intel definitely. Now, on the positive note, AT&T is just disregarding the whole down move on the market. It's just stepping up with a lot of confidence. Take a look. We have this is the weekly chart, which is broke easily through the previous resistance from which we made a lower low, and we're just stepping up. There were some positive comments from CEO and CFO. There were different conferences on technology, and the CEO announced at the Goldman Sachs technology conference there will be actually talking on September 10th, and they are actually going to provide some information about AT&T strategic directions. Also, they'll be talking about partnership with Nokia, with the fiber network, and so on. So it looks like investors are very, very happy here. The stock has been really stepping up. If you see on the monthly charts, been a very nice steady recovery here, trying to retest the previous level of resistance. So we'll definitely continue watching together with Intel. We'll watch AT&T and possibly the breakout or finding the resistance here. Okay, that's AT&T. And the last one, as we sometimes watching it, is Teva. Where are you? Teva Pharmaceutical is correcting here after almost hitting 19, or it did hit. Yes, we did 1905. You remember a while ago, I shared with you that some analysts set up $19 target. We hit it on the 4th, and now we're correcting here, testing the 18. Let's see if we hold here. If not, we might be sliding into this accumulation area between 17.5 and 16.5, kind of. Okay, so that's on Teva. If you zoom out, if it could continue higher to the higher levels, maybe this correction could be a nice opportunity to accumulate. Some might wait till we find a strong support. It could be even here, 17.5, could be 17 or lower. So we'll be watching that. Okay, that's as far as the individual stocks. And before we move to commodities, two more things I really wanted to show you. I think I mentioned last time, UVXY, the ETF, showing the situation with VIX. If you remember, I showed it to you. We went all the way to 65 on August 5th. Then we came back very quickly, and we bottomed around 22. We had a nice move here in the beginning of the week, then correction, and then Friday we moved up again. So just to show you, this Friday move was almost 11.5% on UVXY. Some people trade it, some people like to watch it and wait for the opportunities, but definitely it's worth watching the actions over here, as this one is tradable, very dynamic, sometimes super volatile instrument. Also SQQQs, that's the ProShare Ultra Short on NASDAQ. As you could see, as the NASDAQ was selling, the ETF SQQQ is trying to recover here. Let me just update this one. Okay, yes. So, 1 second. All right. So here comes SQQQs, also nice move on Friday. Nice recovery also. This is an 8% move on Friday. Now, if you zoom out, just in case the market decides to continue selling, this instrument has a nice potential. Again, do not consider anything that you see as a trading advice, just showing you the analytics and what's happening on the market. Now, moving to commodities. If you remember, we said on the 10 yields as they were selling, it could give support to gold. Let's see if that happened. Here we go. Gold was going higher, And then Friday, after the NFPs, there was a reversal. We went down on gold here, and dollar moved higher, right? So that was the correction. Silver also sold on Friday, erasing the previous 2 days. We're on the way of possibly testing the 200 moving average here. Now, back to China. If you remember, China is selling, so we said it could affect negatively oil and copper. Let's take a quick look what they do. Oil has been selling heavily here the whole week, pretty much. A lot of it to do with China. The other reasons as well, including the OPEC, they said they might increase the production. I guess they didn't meet the price agenda. They were looking to reach 100, and they were cutting the production to help it, but it didn't work out. So now I guess they will be compensating with the amount of oil being produced. So oil is continuing lower. What's in store for oil? We might try to hold around here 67.70. We did touch it on Friday and bounced a little bit. Also geopolitically, with Iran, Israel, and things in the Middle East, it's a little bit unclear. We'll see what's next in store for us. Copper as well, after a nice try here the previous weeks, we've been pushing down. Friday was a sell-off here, closing at 406. We might continue sliding to around 4 area. Let's see how it works out for copper. Natural gas, a nice move this week. Thursday, we had a nice move retesting the previous resistance, a few attempts of breaking the 226. Friday, we did break it and close on the highs. So this could be a continuation here as well. Let's see what happens here. And again, I just want to remind us the theory that kind of caught on. You remember 2016, March, April, they move up. 4 years later, exactly, March, April, May, June, July, started this huge rally here. And 4 years later, February, March, April of current year, we had a nice attempt to move higher. Now we corrected a little bit. Let's see if we actually manage to have another continuation over here. So natural gas will continue watching. Now, grains, so far they had a nice recovery in the past 2 weeks, I think. And the last two days of the week, there was a correction here. We're still holding this move. This is wheat. Corn, similar situation. We did break through the previous resistance and came right back on Friday, right back in, right below the 409. And soybeans didn't reach that resistance, didn't reach the 50-day moving average. Also negative reaction on Friday as the dollar went higher. So we'll continue watching grains as well. Now, moving to Forex, as we said, dollar's been weak. And then Friday, after selling with the NFP numbers, we had the reaction to the upside. As you could see here, that's where the numbers came at 12:30 GMT. So you could see initial reaction down and then up, down, up again, ended up in a positive territory. But we are at around 101 on US dollar index. So of course, the majors is just the mirror image of it. We had a recent correction to the downside on both euro and pound. As we know, we have interest rate decision from the European Central Bank this week. Let's see what happens there. Japanese yen, as I said, something that affected the Japanese index a lot, the Nikkei. We are actually regaining strength on yen against all major currency, and we are stepping down, possibly retesting this low of August 5th. Again, if you zoom out, there's a lot of potential of continuation. Yen has been stepping down for a long time. The major move started here 2021, and with a few corrections, and we hit the high on July 1st. Since then, it's been three consecutive months of sliding, and we might be continuing there. Again, we have some data from Japan, right? As we mentioned. So Japanese yen strong against Swiss franc across the board, especially strong against the Australian and New Zealand dollars and Canadian as well. Now Canadian, they did cut the rates. Also, the oil prices is not helping the currency. So it's been, in general, weak. US dollar had a nice move against Canadian dollar on Friday, bouncing off the support here of 134.60. And in general, if you look at the currency, it looks like on Friday with the NFP numbers and came out, and the equity markets selling kind of with the panic, right? So it looks like money went into Japanese yen and Swiss franc both, as maybe they could be showing again as a safe haven, as gold actually sold on Friday. So we should be continue watching the Japanese yen and Swiss franc as the classical scenario of safe haven, especially now. I mean, Swiss franc never stopped being a safe haven, right? But Japanese yen, after regaining some strength, maybe it's kind of reclaiming the status again, right? Also, as we said with China, Australian dollar sold heavily on Friday, and New Zealand dollar sold as well. So this is the situation. So again, with the Forex, dollar showed a little bit of strength on Friday on the NFP move, but still it looks like it's already written in stone that we are having a rate cut on the 18th. The question is it 0.5 or 0.25%? It looks like 70% probability shows that the small rate cut is coming. 0.25. So definitely, it potentially could be not so great for dollar, but at the same time, it could be priced in already, and we might see some move in the dollar as well to the upside. So we'll be following it. And the yen, we'll continue watching yen. And as you could see here, both yen and Swiss franc, they've been really strong against other currencies. Just to show you here, I put it separately. Take a look. Major currencies sold against Swiss franc as well, right? So you could see it's gaining strength. But if you compare Japanese yen and Swiss franc, it looks like lately Japanese yen is winning as the Swiss franc is selling again. So it looks like Japanese yen is regaining the strength, becoming the strongest as of now. Okay, so that's as far as Forex. And as we said, for dessert, we'll take a look at cryptos. Usually when the market is selling, cryptos are selling with it. So we did see a sell-off, and we are below the 55,000 currently, right? So if we try to make a little bit of organized sense here. So we had this tail on the 5th of July, then exactly a month later, 5th of August, with the sell-off of the market, we had the intense sell-off that day on cryptos. We reached as low as almost 49,000, and then we bounced and closed 5,000 higher. That was intense, volatile day, right? Take a look here on Friday. It looks like we retested that level of bounce again. So it looks like this 53, what was here initially, the first tail was at 53,509. So 53,500, we can say, was a support. It held here, even though we went much lower, and then we held again. So it looks like 53,500. It's kind of a support where the buyers are stepping in, and slowly we're trying to bounce from here. So let's see what Monday brings and how things will develop. Ethereum, similar situation. We just didn't have the July sell-off, but we did have a sell-off on the August 5th. This past Friday, we didn't reach that level yet, so it looks a little bit stronger here. Okay, so I think that would be it for today. Again, if you are watching this on YouTube, click likes, share, subscribe, write your comments. And just to summarize things, we are approaching the 18th of September with the meeting of 17 and 18. Will be concluding with the interest rate decision. As of now, the prediction shows 70% probability that's going to be 0.25. Markets reacted negatively to the lower employment data on Friday. I guess there are some fears of recession, the slowing in the employment. We are having CPI and PPI data. We have interest rate decision for European Central Bank. We had other events. We're having other events from the economic calendar that we shared. And we're going to be watching NVIDIA about the current level around 100. AT&T, we mentioned, is stepping up, totally disregarding the weakness of the market. And on the negative side, Intel is falling through to the levels of 14 years ago. We'll be watching banks as Friday this sold. We might see continuation in that. And in general, we'll see how the week starts, how the public and analysts and market participants, how they digest the news and the initial reaction of the market. I want to wish everyone a good weekend, whatever's left. Get some rest, prepare yourself for an exciting week. There'll be a lot of things happening. I wish everyone lots of success. Be safe, be consistent, and be happy. All the best. Take care.